Caryl Stern is with us in New York. She's the president and CEO at the US Fund for UNICEF, just returned from the Zaatari refugee camp in Jordan. Ms. Stern, this has been going on for years now, and seemingly without end. What needs to happen?
You know, I wish I had a perfect solution, but I do know that we have to make sure these children get an education, because if we don't, this really will be the lost generation and it will just repeat itself. I have been in 40 countries on behalf of UNICEF and the national committees of UNICEF, and this by far is the largest humanitarian crisis of my generation and probably the most difficult one to see.
And yet at the same time, there is refugee fatigue, if you like. I'm not being unkind or cruel in saying that. You know what I mean. The rest of the world just looks and says, oh, they think, oh, not another crisis like this. What do you want us to do about it?
There is refugee fatigue. You know, I've repeatedly been asking, where's the mountaintop? How loud do I yell? How far can I reach? Because I'm trying to get people to hear these are children. They're children like our own children, and they are living in horrific conditions. You know, I met one dad while I was there last week who told me the story of his family, and
right.
It was just, you know, there but for the grace of God go I, and I don't know how to tell that story loudly enough.
Okay, and the pictures we're looking, of course, are of that visit that you've just come back from. I've spoken on this programme, on Quest Means Business, we've had the Jordanian finance minister, we've had various other ambassadors from neighbouring countries, and they all say the same thing: they need more help. But at the same time, for example, if we just take Jordan and we take Lebanon, Lebanon particularly is determined that these refugee camps do not become permanent. That it's between the rock and the hard place.
Well, and I will take Jordan, because that is where I was there. The generosity is phenomenal. It's a country of 4 million that has accepted 1 million refugees.
But they don't want a permanent, if you like, population moving in there. But at the same time, what else do you do?
Well, but I think it's the responsibility now of the world, not just Jordan or Lebanon, to support these refugees, because they can't possibly, these countries can't. They have their own issues of poverty. I spoke with Jordanians who do resent on some levels that they're fearful that their own jobs will be subject to loss, that there'll be property loss or education loss. Clearly, the refugees need to be assisted, and you know, if we don't do something to interrupt this cycle, if we don't educate these children, if we don't make sure that they're reached, then all they will learn is the violence they've been subjected to.